are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you again from our first session. I was thinking maybe he wasn't really too receptive to that, but I'm glad to see that you're back. And so I just want to do a quick check in with you because I know last time you expressed to me that you were just here so you can get the probation officer off your back. I want to know your feelings today.
Um, I'm feeling a little irritable. I don't think it's really necessary for me to be here. But because it is the requirement, for my 6 month period, then I'll be here because I need to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I certainly appreciate you um, understanding the guidelines and actually adhering to them. Because truth of the matter is, you can do whatever you like, but you have chosen to come here and do our sessions. So I just wanted to briefly talk about confidentiality before we start our session. So before I mentioned to you, and I think if you remember or recall, I had you sign the release of information form
Yes.
so that I can discuss with your probation officer your progress.
Yes.
So just want to let you know that that's still ongoing and it'll continue throughout the remainder of our 6 month sessions because if I understand correctly, uh, condition of your probation was 6 months counseling.
Yes.
Okay.
So to get a better understanding, majority of what I share with you here will be shared with my probation officer then?
Yeah, so your probation officer and myself work together with discussing your progress. So when you go in front of the judge in court, um, there will be a sign off from me saying, "Hey, Dominic is growing in these areas. This is the next plan. These are areas of growth, and these are areas of challenges." But the main purpose of that is to show your progress and have some credibility and validity behind it.
Okay, that works.
Okay, good. So just to touch on the limits to confidentiality again, everything that we do talk about is going to be strictly between us, and then of course shared with your probation officer. Also, I will have to break confidentiality if we discuss any kind or form of abuse, whether that's child abuse, elder abuse, or dependent adult abuse. Um, are you okay with that? Do you remember that or have questions?
No, I remember from our first session.
Yeah. So, like I was saying before with our first session, the more accurate information that you give me, the more personalized plan we can create for you. So, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So we're just gonna move along to the assessment portion of this session. So I do have some questions I'm going to ask you, some of which may be sensitive. You can choose to answer or not. That's perfectly okay. The main focus of this assessment is so I can gather as much information as possible, so we can really personalize this plan and make some very direct goals that I think will be helpful, and hopefully you will too, since we're partnering on this.
Okay.
Okay. So just for the record, your name is Dominic James.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And can you tell me your date of birth?
September 26th, 1987.
Okay. Uh, let's see here. And you were referred to me, correct?
Yes, as a part of my probation and my hearing, because I did serve some time some for selling drugs.
Yes. Okay. Um, and from what I understand with your case and what we talked about in the first session, um, we wanted to obviously avoid prison. We wanted to help you gain some skills for job training, interview training, and I think we set some educational goals too, right?
Yes, yeah. I don't have my high school diploma, and that actually is something that I would like to work on.
Okay, yeah. So we definitely have the resources to get you connected with that, which we'll discuss further. But we're going to continue with this assessment. Um, so I want to talk about your psychiatric history. If you can share that with me. Are you taking any medications currently?
By medication, can you be a little bit more specific?
Yeah, sure. So this is anything that's been prescribed by a doctor. If you've went to any healthcare professional, and if you were diagnosed with any kind of ailment and you
Mm.
need medication to manage that ailment.
No.
No?
I mean, I take an ibuprofen or Tylenol like here and there, but
Have you ever had any prior psychiatric hospitalizations?
I mean, we had some form of group talk or group therapy while I was in jail, but other than
Hmm.
that, no.
Okay. Do you have a history of suicidal or homicidal behavior?
Maybe when I was younger,
Hmm.
I didn't have a very good upbringing.
Hmm.
But right now, no. No.
Okay.
I'm okay right now.
Okay. So that a part of your upbringing, um, what caused you to have, was it homicidal behavior or at least thoughts?
Well, sometimes I just thought things would just be easier if I just wasn't here anymore.
Okay.
I was always hungry, and we didn't really grow up, or I didn't really grow up in a very good neighborhood. So,
Hmm. Yeah. So
yeah.
that was just maybe just a thought at the time to escape not
Yes.
having some of those basic necessities.
Yes.
And since then, you've resolved those thoughts in your mind as far as not wanting to harm yourself or having suicidal ideation.
Yeah, I'm okay right now.
Very good. Um, is there a history of mental illness in your family?
That I know of, no. Nobody's been treated for anything or
Mhm.
said anything.
Okay. Last session we discussed your employment history, and can you please reiterate what we discussed and talked about regarding employment?
So I went to jail for selling drugs. That's basically what I did to make a living or to have some form of money coming in. I'm not very good at keeping a job, or I've never had like a steady job, one that I can like hold down
Hmm.
or anything of that such.
Hmm.
Like I said, I don't have my high school diploma, so that kind of gets in the way of things.
There are certain agencies that work with individuals who are currently enrolled in or have an education plan to get their GED or high school diploma.
Oh,
So, and it's you meet certain requirements, which I'm sure that you meet. We can discuss that later, but it just helps because people need money. You know,
mm-hmm.
sometimes they can't just go through the checkbox and say, okay, I accomplished this and that. People need money right away.
Oh,
And
well.
our goal is to keep you away from prison and doing things that are illegal.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. So as far as your support, um, family support or support from friends, how would you say your um, support is?
I think I need support. That's how I ended up in the situation that I ended up in.
Hmm.
I don't really have a good family. Like I said, we grew up poor, not in the best of neighborhoods, so mm, I don't have a really good support right now.
Are you in contact with any of your family still?
At the moment, no. Since I went to jail, it kind of everybody just kind of like pushed me away, or
Yeah.
maybe I pushed them away. Who knows?
Okay. Are you? Do you ever think about possibly reconnecting those relationships with your family?
No, as of right now, I think I want to focus on me
Hmm.
and getting better and kind of like doing what I need to do.
Yeah. Um, I think that's a really good thing. Sometimes it's good to be selfish in that respect to make sure that you're taking care of your needs. And then once you have those needs set in stone, then you can venture out to new goals. So
Hmm.
I think that's good that you're really focused on turning things around and transitioning to a different kind of lifestyle because that's that's difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it's definitely difficult. So, as far as your cultural background, Dominic, what do you identify your ethnic background as?
I'm Hispanic,
Okay.
so male Hispanic.
Okay. And as far as your gender identity
Mm, Male.
and your sexual orientation.
I like women.
Okay. Drug and alcohol use. Are you currently using any drugs or alcohol?
Well, no drugs, but I drink occasionally. Maybe one time a day. Might have a beer.
Okay. Just a beer one time a day.
hmm
How long have you been having the beer one time a day?
Well, I mean, I barely got out, so
Right.
I
Right.
mean, I guess like since I got out, it's something that I like enjoy,
hmm
considering I was in jail for so long and I didn't have those things.
Okay. Absolutely. Um, in the past, before you went to jail, were you taking any drugs or alcohol?
Yeah, I used to. I mean, I sold cocaine, so I would occasionally do it, and
Mm,
then alcohol followed with that, and it was just something that I did.
yeah. So having that time away from that environment and being in prison, where obviously is much more restrictive to access to drugs and alcohol, would you say that how has that impacted you?
I mean, it is a change. It's a lot to kind of like get used to.
hmm
And sometimes it is difficult
hmm
to not go back to what I know.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Um, Sometimes we're comfortable in what we know in a routine, and like I basically what I hear from you is that you recognize that that lifestyle has put you in some predicaments that you didn't want to be in. 5 year prison sentence doesn't sound like it's anything that's ideal, and I think you've made the come to the conclusion that you don't want to do that. So I mean,
Yeah, no, nobody wants to be in jail for
yeah,
5 years.
no, definitely not, definitely not. But I do see a lot of strength and resilience because you don't have that social, support to kind of move you away from those same individuals and that same environment, but yet still you're not doing those things. So
hmm
that's really important. That takes a lot of willpower.
I mean, yeah, as of right now, I only have myself. So,
Right.
I mean,
Have you ever looked at it from that perspective?
no,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, that like I'm just here reflecting back to you what you're actually doing in your life.
Hmm.
So,
I never looked at it that way.
yeah. I want to talk about abuse. Is there any domestic violence where you're living?
No,
No. And any child abuse?
no.
Have you ever been abused as a child?
I mean, we were in stressful situations.
hmm
So, yeah, I mean, sometimes my parents would, lash out at me or like take their stress out on me. So, yeah, it wasn't the best of situations.
When they took their stress out on you, was this in like a physical or verbal manner?
Both.
Well, how has that impacted you?
I mean, look at the situation I'm in.
Yeah. You'll say that that kind of environment contributed heavily to the decisions that you've made so far.
Yeah, to a point, yeah.
Okay. Um, Overall, as far as your functioning, being outside of prison now, how are you functioning? How are you doing?
I mean, I'm just taking it day by day, trying to get through this. Speaking of, like, how much longer is this gonna take?
We are actually going to wrap it up pretty soon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I,
Okay.
I want to respect your time for sure.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so functioning is okay.
Yeah, I'm good for right now. Just trying to do what my probation officer tells me, follow the court rules, and
hmm
do what I can.
hmm Okay. Well, you must have had a timer or been looking at my paper here because we're going to wrap it up. So I just want to do a brief summaries because I know I realize you have other things to do and you probably have other appointments that you're obligated to go to. So um, I took this assessment to get enough information that we can process together and come up with a plan. And that plan is going to be focused on helping you with your education. So we have some academic goals that we want to meet, getting you some a job and job training, and in the midst of that, interview training because the job that you may get can just be a stepping stone to something else. So we want to prepare you for that something else. Okay.
Okay.
So I appreciate you coming.
Hmm.
I know that this is difficult because it's a condition of your probation. But Dominic, I think that we can do some really good things here together.
Yeah, let's work on it. Let's do this.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.